Hello everyone. Welcome to another lesson. In the previous lesson, we were able to see how you can use the unshift method to add new element at the beginning of an array, and then use that to unshift other elements. So that element will be added at the beginning of your array when you use the unshift method, and then it will now unshift other elements, which means that the other element will be pushed forward while the new one will be added at the beginning of your array. And also, we also examine how elements can be changed in your array using their index number. And we were able to show that using the brackets notation to, replace the value of an existing item in your array. So in this lesson, we'll move further and we'll take a look at the array length properties in JavaScript. Although we've talked about this uh, in the previous lesson, but what we used it for in the previous lesson is not the same thing it is going to be used for in this lesson. And that is why I'm taking time to explain the reason why we have to talk about array length property again in this lesson, so that it doesn't look like a duplication of what we have talked about or shown before. Now, in the past lesson, we've shown how the length property can be used to get the size of an array. But in this lesson, we are going to see how it can be used to append a new element to an array, how it can be used to add a new element to an array. And that is the difference between how we've talked about it in the past and how we are going to talk about it in this video. Also, we are going to be considering the array is array method, which was introduced in ECMAScript 5 in 2009. And this array is array method, we have used it also to, show how a variable can be determined whether it is an array, and we are going to repeat that as well in this video. And moving away from that, we talked about the JavaScript array delete method, and how this can create a holes in your array, and why it is best to avoid it, and used one of the modern methods to remove elements from your array instead of this delete method. So let's dive in and start with the first one, the JavaScript array length. So the length property provides an easy way to append a new element to an array. You can see an example right here on my screen: banana, orange, apple, and mango. And so now, what is being done here is that the length property is being passed inside the bracket notation into the name of the array, and then the new array that wants to be appended to this existing array is then given as a value to that length property that is already applied on the array name. And let's take a look at what the output looks like in our code editor. So I have fruits. I have 3 elements. Now, just like what we have on that screen, fruits this way, then the bracket notation fruits dot length is equal to mango. Now, if I get this out right here on my screen, I think this should give us, let me refresh. I think something is wrong. Yeah. So this will give us what? Banana, orange, and apple, which shows that the length property just appended a new element to the edge of our array. And you can see mango showing there. Now, sometimes if you want to append more than one element, how do you do it? You might quickly be delusional to doing something like this. And then you add this, and then you add another one like this. Now, this will not work because this doesn't add new elements in JavaScript. Or you think of, okay, what if I put them in a bracket like this? Even this will not work. What JavaScript will keep doing is that if you keep picking the latest element and be adding it. But if you want to add multiple elements, don't forget, this is an array, you use the square brackets to add multiple elements. And if I change this to square bracket, you can see now that all elements that I have inside this has been added to the original array. So this is how you use the length property to append a new element to an array. So also let's talk about the array is array method. The array is array method is just something that allows us to deduce whether a variable is an array, and that is what we've talked about in the past. So JavaScript array dot is array method. So the method is like this. So it's used to the array is array method. Let us know if a variable is an array or not. And so now that we have this variable, if we want to know whether this is an array, you just pass the is array method inside. Sorry. So it will be like this: array dot is array. Then you pass this fruit, which is the name of my array, inside it. And right here, you can see the output proof that this is an array. And don't forget that this was introduced in ECMAScript 5 in 2000, because initially what JavaScript had was this type of, which is not going to tell us that this is an array, but instead this will give us an object as the output. But the array dot is array method let us know that this is an array. And lastly, let's quickly talk about the delete method in JavaScript array delete method. So when you use the delete method, it leaves undefined holes in your array. So instead of delete method, it is recommended that you use the pop or shift method instead. So let's take a look at an example right here. Now, let's say I have this array, and then I want to use the delete method. Let me quickly change this. JavaScript array delete method. The delete method leaves undefined hooks in an array. So now I have this already, and then I do something like maybe I want to delete this first fruit. And now, if you take a look at what is happening now, you can see that even though banana has been removed, but there's something like comma before the first element that is shown. And that is the undefined row that this is talking about. So if I change this one to 1, now you can see that now instead of a single comma, I am having double comma because the orange has been deleted, but yet JavaScript is leaving an undefined O inside my array. So instead of this issue, it is advisable that you use what is called the pop method to remove an element, or the shift method to remove an element from your array. So this is how the JavaScript array delete method works, and it is best to avoid this. When you want to remove elements from your array, use the pop method or the shift method instead. Thank you. This is the end of the lesson. I'll see you.